Welcome, everybody. This is Pigskin Paisanos. I'm Paul.
G-Man.
And G-Man is here. So we are going to go over your week one starts and sit matchups here. And so we're going to go over the games on Monday. And so the game that we're going to talk about today is the Houston Texans at the New Orleans Saints. So this should be a fun game.
In the dome.
Yeah. This is a dome game, which is something that you have to consider when you are playing fantasy football. And so because obviously weather affects, especially passing game.
Yeah.
And so basically we are going to talk first about the Texans and who you should start for them. So obviously you're starting Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Could battle Pat
Mahomes.
Yeah, for the number one quarterback this
he's
year.
up there.
So Watson is a must start. And then also a guy that was involved in a timeshare last year in Cleveland, and now he has the opportunity to really be big time fantasy, Duke Johnson Jr. So Duke Johnson, as far as we know, is going to get the most touches here,
probably overall,
in this backfield. I know they recently signed, was it Carlos Hyde? So there is the possibility that Hyde, cuts into his workload. I really don't see Hyde really cutting in too much into his workload, as far as I know.
Overall,
reports.
no.
Yeah, so Johnson has never been a 3-down back, so this would be a new role for him. But
yeah, they'll still have Carlos Hyde get probably those early down rushes. They have
maybe Vulture a touchdown or two or three. No,
they have a couple rookies, Karan Higdon out of Michigan and Demaria Crockett. Can't remember the college he came out of right now, but Higdon's okay. So I think for now it's probably just gonna be Hyde, Johnson, and like Paul was saying, I think Johnson in her overall touches, whether it's rushing attempts plus targets in the receiving, should be a really solid play in this offense.
Yeah, so I would say Duke Johnson is an RB2. So in my league, I have a stacked RB core, and Johnson is my flex play this week. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, I would put Johnson as a RB2.
Yeah.
Right now in your lineup.
It could be that or 3. I guess it depends. Right?
Maybe
it depends how.
Depends. I mean,
you draft him
but there's also upside. He's in one of the best offenses in football. So kind of like that Damian Williams kind of role before all these moves and everything. I could see Duke Johnson having that upside of like an RB1 upside in certain matchups. But they are facing the Saints, and the Saints do have a pretty decent defense.
Yeah.
So we would, I guess, as a safe play, put Duke as your RB2. DeAndre Hopkins, you can say he's the best wideout
he definitely is.
In football. He probably went first round in all of your drafts, even middle first round.
Yep.
So you're starting him.
Do you know he caught all catchable targets last year?
That's insane.
DeAndre Hopkins.
This man is insane.
No drops.
His hands are not human. I would say they're from like I would say his hands or something.
They
else.
got that stick. They got stick 'em.
Yeah.
Stick 'em on the
yeah.
glue,
There's something going on with Hopkins in that, but definitely a guy that you set it and forget it player every week. And another guy that has battled injuries, but man, is he talented though. Will Fuller the fifth.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy had games last year where he would kill it, have touched it. Like, he was so good. As far as we know, he's healthy. He's ready to go. I would start him. I would start him right away. Maybe as a wide receiver 3 flex, solid flex play, I would say. So, the upside is there. I mean, Will Fuller can have a game where he does nothing, but also he could explode and have over 20 points in your league.
When he's been healthy, him and Watson have had like some really good connections.
They have good chemistry.
Yeah.
He's the to me, he's the number 2 there. Solid number 2, and in what is projected to be a high-powered offense again. And because Will Fuller is healthy, you are going to sit Kiki QT.
Yeah.
QT filled in very well when Fuller was hurt, but QT is really more to me like the third option there, and only a guy that you even put in if Fuller is out. Really, that's my opinion
on health
too.
To see, because I don't know if you saw. If he was going to play
questionable.
Or not. Right. So I think he probably might be a game time decision.
Right. So he's a guy, even if he was healthy, I'd sit him anyway. So definitely a sit here. So let's move on to the New Orleans Saints. You're starting Drew Brees. The guy doesn't age.
What a
Kind
surprise.
of like Tom Brady. The
Yeah.
guy doesn't age. And so he's always there. He's going to provide a solid floor for you, I'd say. And so you're starting him as a QB1 still.
Yeah, absolutely.
So and he's probably going to be throwing to this guy, Michael Thomas, stud wideout. Thomas probably went either late round 1 to maybe like round 2, I'd say.
Yeah.
But Thomas, didn't he have like one of the greatest catching percentages?
Yeah, last
of
season
any
he had
wide
a really,
receiver
really
last
high
year?
catch rate.
Yeah,
last year.
I mean,
I forget the exact number, but it was for like even the first half of the season. I want to say it was like up in the high 90s. It might have finished out in like
it's
the low
amazing.
80 or
The guy
mid
catches
80%,
everything.
I forget. But
So
yeah.
kind of like Hopkins.
He's awesome.
He has stickum on his hands for sure.
Yeah.
And
I think he might even have the record for like the most receptions in like the first 3 years of a
yes,
player's career, a wide
Yes.
receiver. Like
yes,
he was one of my favorite rookies when he came out. Ohio State, like one of
Yeah.
the best wide receiver talents
just a
I've ever
stud.
seen.
Yeah.
The guy, big slot. He's amazing.
The only thing that can limit Thomas's game is just if they go run heavy with their halfbacks, and their halfback is Alvin Kamara, and
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is a stud. You are starting Alvin
Yeah, he
Kamara.
probably went top 3, right? Most
Yeah.
drafts
I
before the
mean,
Zeke news got sorted out.
Kamara has had games where he's completely shredded teams, given over 30 fantasy points. I think he reached 40 fantasy points at times last season.
Just really efficient, great pass catching back.
Yeah.
Like maybe not the workhorse back, but like makes the most with the attempts he gets. Like,
Right.
He's very good.
Yeah, and I mean, you have Murray in there as the other running back, but we know that that offense has always really operated well with 2 running backs playing at the same time and getting kind of a similar workload. But we expect Kamara to, have the main amount of touches, you want to say. And
Watch Murray though. I was just gonna
watch Murray.
vulture in the
Murray could vulture. We are going to warn you. Murray
down
could
in
be
the
a
red
vulture,
zone, in
but
the 10 and 5.
Right,
zone.
right. But we are going to say you should sit Murray unless you want like if you're really struggling with a flex spot, start Murray because hey, who knows?
Exactly.
I mean Ingram killed it,
Yep.
as the guy
Yep. Part of that 1-2 punch.
in that role. So who knows? I mean Murray's a good halfback, he's not
had
bad.
some good games.
Yeah, he's not bad, so who knows? But if you have better options, sit Murray. And Garrett and I were kind of we didn't really agree on this one, but Ted Ginn.
Ginn Jr.
I say sit Ted Ginn. I want to wait and see. It seems like that number 2 wideout spot is still up for grabs. I don't believe that Ted Ginn has really established himself in that role. But Garrett, maybe you can give your opinion on this. But
Well, I think I
Ted
just
Ginn
like the upside because it's really just him and Traquan Smith. I think that are going to battle for that number 2.
I think Smith is the guy, but that's just me. So that's why.
And I
we
know
do this.
that like Ginn in at least half of the games that he was in with Breeze put up like really good stats. So it's a little hit or miss with them, but I like it. I like the matchup. I like Ted Ginn's upside. I think because the defenses have to keep such like what's the word? Like they have to concentrate so much on
Thomas, Kamara,
Jared Cook.
Jared Cook too.
Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. So that kind of opens up those deeper balls for Ted Ginn. So, he's matchup dependent, but I would say start him.
Right. Okay. So that's Garrett's take. So we'll see what happens week 1. But you're also starting, as Garrett mentioned, Jared Cook. So Jared Cook coming over from Oakland, did very well in Oakland.
Yeah.
And now he has an even better quarterback with an even better offense. So Jared Cook is definitely a guy that could also finish top 5 this year if he finds a consistent role, I'd say. If he's consistent, Drew Brees should do well with him. So you're starting Jared Cook. You're also going to start the Saints defense. So even though you're facing one of the most high-powered offenses, we say start the Saints defense.
Yeah, because they brought over Laramie Tunsil from Miami to be their left tackle, but it seems like outside of that, like their offensive line is probably still going to be garbage. They were rated like as one of the absolute worst offensive lines last year, along with Arizona Cardinals. So like we talked about before, the Saints have a pretty good defense. So, they could definitely, do a lot of pass rush, get some sacks, maybe force Watson
turnovers,
fumble losses or interceptions. So
we've seen Watson have games like that where he throws it around. But yeah. So guys, that's more of a sleeper start because you are facing a high-powered offense.
Yeah.
But definitely try it out. And so basically to summarize, for the Texans, you're starting Watson, you're starting Duke Johnson, you're starting Hopkins and Will Fuller the fifth. You're sitting Kiki QT.
And Carlos Hyde, if people are.
And Carlos Hyde, right. Yeah. Hyde, really don't see him cutting into the workload that much, but who knows? For the Saints, you're starting Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Jared Cook, and as a sleeper, the Saints defense. You could also start Murray.
Or Ted Ginn.
Yeah. Or Ted Ginn. So those are more kind of sleeper or flex spots if you need a guy in a pinch. So guys, thank you so much. That is our starts and sits for week 1 for the Texans at the New Orleans Saints. Signing off.
Arrivederci.